All right. Higher time frame outlook. December 22nd, 2022. We are on our 1 hourly chart. On my left side screen, I got my buys, and on my right hand side of the screen, I got my sells. Drawings at least. So when I woke up this morning, or when we left things yesterday, we were of the opinion that we had made this buy primary. Took price, or at least forming it, right? Took price down here, shot up here, even broke structure. This activates the buy primary, and then of course it fell over. By the time I'm at the screen this morning, it has fallen over. I've never seen that little guy. That's new to me. Anyway, um, I just rebooted my computer and reset my browser and everything. So that's weird that this little weird thing's just shown up. I've never seen that one before, but I guess it's like a bundle of news or something at 10 o'clock though, 2 hours ago. I don't know. Anyway, who cares? Anyway, so this was a buy primary, and then it fell over, broke structure down to the on its bottom side here, so it turned into a what? A sell primary. If I bring that over, it will help explain it. Here's a sell primary, right? So the sell primary came up, took liquidity from the top and broke on itself and broke structure, activating it, causing this to become a new sell primary. And this was just cause. This was just a range that was developed for liquidity on both sides. Okay. So what's our bias? We've got this sell primary that's holding price. We've got this new sell primary that's formed, right? And so this is my bias. I'm inside a sell primary, and my current bias is to shoot prices down. But it's a lovely complex range because we've also got this buy primary here that is holding price also, right? And inside that buy primary formed this range. I'll pull it back. But this range formed within the formation of this buy primary. So we have an expectation that this should hold price also. So what they're doing is what they do all the time, but they're doing it on a very large, higher time frame scale and using all the space within their order blocks, right? And that's really what a range is. They're just ranging, moving price up and down inside of these current ranges, these larger areas, I guess you could say, that are holding price, and that's all they're doing. They're just transacting. So very cool that we can see that on this level. So we are expecting buys as well from this lower end. So if we start to see some low time frame buy primaries start to form right now in this area, once we've taken liquidity, we'll be getting in. Same thing on the lower time frame, right? So on the the sell primaries on the other side of the screen, right? So if we're in a sell primary, we've got this range that we expect to have the reaction that will continue lower prices. Now they could obviously go off and create more, and we've also had a reaction as well. So we've also got this connector. So a couple of different scenarios. They could bring price back up into here, right? React. They could use this as liquidity. So they could come and react here. Or they could use this range here, right, which is a connector. See how we broke structure here and then it came straight back up to create this. So this is a connecting order block. And so we can expect price to as well react from there as well. So we've got three locations really that we're interested in price coming back to whenever it's ready to come back to up here. So let's move over to our lower time frame, and we're going to see sort of my trades today. Where's the first one? So it is all sells, isn't it? It's all sells and two buys. Okay. Let's talk about the buys. Let's get rid of the buys first because I do want to talk about the sells. Obviously, the sells are the main event. But I do want to talk about the buys as well. So here we are potentially forming a lower time frame buy primary, right? And as I sort of see and look at what it mitigated, I'm like, okay, well, you took liquidity and you've mitigated something, right? And so if we ray it back, you can see actually took liquidity from beneath this range here, and then mitigated something real nice. So I was like, That's an LM for me all day long, a liquidity mitigation. So look at my annotation here. Potentially forming a buy primary, potential buy primary is forming, looking for a lower time frame buy primary to form. It's really that simple because I can't take a potential buy primary. Taking a potential buy primary is suicide. Why is it suicide? Because I have no fucking clue. We've got sell pressure. We've got sell pressure. We're moving and initiating down. So taking a buy here just because we've liquidated, mitigated, and maybe even broken structure is the most bullshit thing in the world. So for me, I have to see another buy primary form, right? And so I did get another one formed, but it was very weak, in my opinion. Let's go down to 15 seconds so we can see it. So here's the primary that formed, right? So here's why it's weak. Look at this range. This is the range that they took liquidity from, right? So we came up this high, pulled price down. This was the range that took the liquidity from beneath here. But that is a very weak range to be taking liquidity from. And to get an initiation up here was unexpected. Let's just say that. So seeing that, I wrote that's a weak lower time frame buy primary, but I'll annotate it nonetheless. Also, I've got this range here, which is kind of just hanging out, and I was like, okay, it's the range before the break of structure, big whoop. But it just doesn't carry weight. So I'm thinking this was always liquidity. And sure enough, it becomes liquidity. And so we're waiting, right? We're waiting for that potential lower time frame buy primary to form. We get one, but I'm still not willing to just take it just willy-nilly. I do love that word. And so here we are forming something else. And so I'm observing all this. I'm live at the charts and I'm watching all this form and I'm thinking to myself, what are we up to? This is a weak buy primary. We could be like forming a lower time frame sort of one out of here, but let's let it connect and observe. And so I think if I'd have seen like some kind of primary form here or something like that, or even like this was the primary that formed, yeah, I'd be very interested in getting in here. But I wasn't because we didn't have any of that occur. Range, break a structure, which means liquidity. They came back in and took it, right? And so now I'm thinking we could be forming this primary, and this could become a primary as well inside of this. And it's in the right location to form, right? It's in the lower half that's formed. And so I'm very interested in taking this if I get a lower time frame buy primary. So again, I've got a potential formed within another higher time frame potential. And I sort of start to observe some of this. And I believe I took a short in some of this mess here. Yeah, there you go. I took several shorts in this mess. And so we'll look at those in just a sec. I'm calling it mess because I took losses. It's not a mess at all. It's beautiful. It's perfect is what it is. So we know we're looking for a primary to form. And so literally that's all we've got to be looking for. Potentially forming a buy primary, look for a lower time frame buy primary and enter. Like I write this again right here because that other one that I had written over here, I'd already forgotten about it. So I'd already written, this again, for this second one, I'm seeing what could be forming. I'm seeing it. So let's have a little look. Range. Let's use this. Range, initiation, break of structure, stacking of liquidity, comes back down into it, takes the liquidity, breaks up on itself, and this is the tricky part. Okay, so now we've got a break up on itself, but what have I been saying about primaries? Yes, they can form like this, but they don't activate until they take out structure, the next piece of structure, basically swing structure. right? They don't activate. And so it's like, but even though they don't activate, they can still build upon one another for higher prices. You know what I mean? Like it's not like, oh, they didn't. It's not like, oh, a buy primary is formed, but because it hasn't activated, it has no weight. It's nothing. That is not true. A buy primary, once it's formed and activated on itself by breaking its own structure, is an activation of sorts. Expectation is a RIMC. However, it's lower probability that it's going to hold because we haven't had the break-in structure, the swing structure. So we've got a biprimary that forms, another biprimary that forms, and I'm thinking to myself, why do we form biprimaries so close together? To stack liquidity for cause reasons, right? But I've also seen it happen when they'll literally just stack them real high, close together, sorry, and then initiate prices in one direction, and that'll be for future is to take it out. It really depends what they're doing on the time frame, really, and what time frame you're looking at, and all the rest of it. It really just depends on what their intention is, and we don't always have that answer, right? Of course not. We guess most of the time. So, biprimary. Why did I get in here? Well, here's the range, right? That formed during this creation, right? So we've got A to B. That was the formation of the biprimary range, and then it went like this, whoop whoop, up to C, the point in where it breaks structure. And so this was the only range that I could see that was really playable. This guy here was, I guess, but it was so weak versus this had a lot more strength. So I wasn't really interested in this, especially given the circumstances and the range and, you know, the stacking liquidity. I really wanted to see this box here hold price number one, and initiate higher prices. So I see what's going on, and I'm just waiting for some sort of sign, really, as to get into the market. And I guess this was it, really. I should have really bought here because I see all this range. You know, what am I waiting for? Ripper is really it. It's Ripper, R-I-P-A, right? Which is my version of like range initiation, leaving IPA, yeah, and then coming back in to take it. So really, I guess I should have entered here. But I just wanted to see how price action reacted from around this. There's been so manipulation, lots of manipulation and manipulatory all around here. It's been so manipulatory that I kind of just wanted to see. And I kind of had an idea that, yeah, this is what's likely to happen. One dip in, a break of structure, and then they're going to do the same thing, right? Because they're assholes. It's just what they like to do. Call them assholes for a reason. They absolutely are. Hindsight, I should have entered here. I entered here, and I'll tell you why hindsight as well. Okay, so what I should have been looking for is for them to create a range. Sorry, range has been created incorrectly. I should have been waiting for this, right? Like here's a buy block that breaks structures like right there above it. Stacking liquidity. This is what I should have done. This is what I should have done. I should have waited for this to form, this biprimary, to let price initiate and then taken this range right here. It's obvious to me now, in hindsight, why I should have entered here and not here. I was jumping the gun by entering here, high risk, and now look what we've got. 3 stacked back to back. So what can we expect when we've got 3 back to backs like this? Typically, that they're going to run price, but they're always going to initiate price first because they want to create more liquidity. Well, that's what this is. When they're stacking primaries like this in a very tight area, I believe we're creating cause. And to create cause, you got to break some structure, my gosh. So there's structure, and here's structure, right? And so what happens? As soon as we break structure, what do people do? They put their stops in. They move their stops. Where are they moving them? Boom, 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 boom. What happened? Boom, 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 boom. They just got taken, right? And so that's why I should have entered where I was just pointing out, is because here would have been the absolute best. I needed to allow confirmation because this wasn't really good enough as confirmation. I entered this on just the expectation of manipulation, and that's not really how I want to trade. Okay. So anyway, I did enter on the expectation of manipulation. I saw what I wanted to see. I thought to myself, well, they probably run the low of this. They did run the low of this, and then they initiated higher prices. That's when I saw the IPA kick in, and just went for it, right? Just clicked buy at market. Now, I did go break even pretty damn soon on this one. And the reason I went break even pretty damn soon on this one is because I was seeing that we were potentially forming this range here. And it looked like this at the time, right? And this is when I went break even, like during the formation of this. And why am I going break even? Because this is what I'm thinking. If I'm forming this as a buy primary, what do I want to see inside this leg here? I want to see some sort of range that holds and initiates price up, up and away, so that when they come back in, they can mitigate in and out of it and give higher prices, right? Initiate higher prices. And so I see the formation of a beautiful range, right? And I see the range form like this, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, this will be gold range. Now all we just need to do is break structure, come up here, and then maybe we'll come back in, tap this, and initiate up, up and away. My stop's real safe. You know, I'm thinking, this is how I'm thinking in the moment. And so I go break even pretty quickly on this one. And I did get tagged out from this little low here. So that hurt at the moment. That did hurt just a little bit because it was kind of like, God damn, it didn't even touch my level. It just came close, you know. It's a stupid spreads. You know, I really should switch to futures. But it is what it is. Still trading Forex right now. And initiate high prices. So I got taken out. They came up here, pulled back anyway, the trade would have failed. So that's why I went there. That's what happened there. Now, this trade here, we'll talk about the sells obviously in a little bit. Now, this trade here, I just saw on a lower time frame what was going on. I guess 5 minutes is probably the best. Oops. Excuse me. Gosh, it's tricky with my drawings. Was it here? Here? Yeah, it might have been here. Let's try the 1 minute. Yeah, okay, you can see it on the 1 minute. So we dip in. This is the range that dips in, takes liquidity. Where does it take liquidity from? Right below here. Absolute golden opportunity. We're playing the edges as well. Like NJAT would be so proud hearing me say that. Oh, play the edges, play the fucking edges. Whatever, dudes. We don't play edges anymore, but they'd be happy to hear that. I'm remembering it. So we came to this kind of very low end of the range, dipped in, potentially forming again a buy primary, and this is my mistake 1,000,000%, because you've got, what did I just say? What did I just say a few minutes ago? You've got to let these buy primaries form and break structure. You've got to allow it to happen before you sort of want to get in. You just do. And so I'm seeing this happen here, and I'm just thinking this would be such a golden area to form a buy primary. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, let's just try and catch it on the way up, you know, as it's forming. Like, you'll be a legend. And then, of course, range initiation. So this is mitigated, range initiation, break a structure. And so I'm thinking, let's just enter here, put a nice big fat stop. Boom. What happens? So this is a full 1 hour loss. This is break even. So yeah, that was pretty poopy, but it happens. Shit happens. I'm not perfect by any means. I'm not even trying to be perfect. So let's talk about our sells then. Okay. So on the sell side of things, This is a classic case of who the fuck showed up this morning to the charts, right? I've got all the knowledge in my head. I've got everything I need to know about this kind of stuff. And so what am I thinking here? I'm thinking we've made a sell primary, right? Where here's the sell primary. We've made sell primaries and we're connecting and whatnot and forming them and they're connecting together. So we're initiating away, and as price comes down strongly down here, this is what I remember. Due to the higher time frame location, I am looking to position myself into lower time frame shorts at low prices. And really what I'm saying is on this higher time frame outlook, look where we are. We're really close to running these lows. And if we're going to run these lows, you better fucking believe we're going to go fast, right? So I'm expecting us to go fast and furious down to probably this range right here, right? The next logical range. I mean, sure enough, they can bounce anywhere, transitional, they bounce, come take liquidity, but this is really the goal, isn't it? To bring us down into these prices here, before we make a decision of the next, what they're going to do next time. So as I'm seeing, we're so close, so close. I'm just expecting New York, we're gonna run it. And I couldn't let go of that idea. And that was what my downfall was here. Boom, boom, boom. Look at all these. This one was break even. This was a horrid sell, and this was probably the only actual trade worth taking. So let's go down to the 15 seconds. And this was actually the best trade of the day, right? So I've got two good trades. My first and my last were the best trades. Everything else in the middle could have been avoided. It was all guff, crapola. Let's see why this first trade could have worked out, right? So I'm thinking this is a sell primary that's forming in here, right? And so what am I going to need? Look, we've taken liquidity. Here's a range. We've taken liquidity. And then we're potentially putting in this new one, right? And so we get this break in structure. I believe it was very mild, but we did get it. And so now I see them bob up again and potentially moving price back down. It just made sense. We had this liquidity mitigation. We're at lower prices again, right? So I've got that in my head as well. And so I'm thinking to myself, this is actually one where I'm willing to take a risk on. Because we're at those lower prices, number one. Number two, we formed this sell primary and we've broken structure on it. So we've got an activated, somewhat activated, partial activation, really, we could call it, of a sell primary. And we've just put in a new sell primary and we've initiated away. That's the logic, right? So I enter this one. And I think actually what happened on this one is I got taken for, like half R on this, like 0.5, because I was thinking to myself, well, we're initiating away. And I waited, I think, for this candle here. It mitigated this range and started pulling away. And I thought to myself, well, I don't really want to carry too much more risk on this, this should be the mitigation. So I put it, I think it was above the high or like right at the high. Boom, got straight taken out. But that wasn't a full loss, which was good. This one here, I don't think I even want to talk about it. I mean, like, I'm embarrassed about it, it's the truth of it. I just kept seeing these initiations down and that kept sucking me in. Initiations down, it kept sucking me in. So every time I would sort of see a liquidation mitigation, I'm literally just seeing that, like, we've liquidated above this range here and mitigated something in here. I'm thinking to myself, transitionals don't matter. Look, transitional. The best one was this one, really. I got the biggest move of this one, because it was a real mitigation, actually mitigated something. These transitionals didn't mitigate shit. And why was I willing to get into them? Because we'd liquidated. That was the main thing. And then I looked left and saw what we'd actually mitigated. And you could see sort of an order block on the other side. So I was like, well, these are transitionals. They're just going to come back for them later on. Let's just enter. And so that was the rationale with these trades. Terrible trades. All three could have easily been halted, like mitigated, I guess, by not taking them, by just simply waiting for a primary to form. It's that simple. This was the golden goose of the day, and I'm still in this trade. I'm holding for more than I would normally. I'm going for 14R on this one instead of 10R because I do have a belief that we are going to break structure down here. Now my 10R puts me somewhere in the middle here in Never Never Land. So I was kind of thinking I want it to touch this order block. That's where I'm willing to take profits. Just because I think if we do get a break of these lows, it's going to be fast, and I think it will actually dip us straight into sort of that kind of an area. So that's really what I was thinking with those shorts, right? So sell primary forms. Look at this lovely range in the middle. Price comes up and taps it. I'm just like, this is gold. This is initiating away. And then I see this as being a connecting range that connects to this range here. So this is just basically a continuation of this primary that's formed here. Now also don't forget this primary also does look like this, right? It comes in, takes liquidity. Actually probably looks more like that. I don't know. It looks big. It's you have to go from your last time you took liquidity. Where is it? It's tricky because it's so dependent on our time frame. But anyway, let's just assume it's there. Anyway, so we're connecting, and so I see a stack, a range, initiation, a break of structure. I was honestly thinking this would be the trade. I was thinking this would break here, and then this would form a sell primary. But as you can see, it just nibbled down here and didn't really do anything. Whereas this was the actual range initiation, break of structure, and then they did that to take liquidity. So the moment I see prices in this area, I already had my tool up here and I was ready to go. It was just a matter of like when to like act, press sell or whatnot. So as soon as I sort of saw price hover up and around here, I entered and got the exact entry that I would normally if I had have taken a risk entry. So it all worked out good for me. Price initiates away. I left my stop fully open and I wrote this. My risk is fully open until 5R. There's too much manipulation. I will risk my entries, and if my trade works out in my favor, then I will go break even, not because of structure. And what I was thinking is they're so fucking manipulative today. I needed this high to cover. I just felt like twin highs. I felt like they were just going to bring it back, and they did. They actually did take liquidity one more time. Range, break of structure. Somewhat break a structure, right? I'm sure there was this one here did break, and then they came straight back in, takes that liquidity, and then they initiate away. As soon as this happened, and as soon as we broke structure here, my stop was break even. Why? Because that is a sell primary upon a sell primary, which is creating cause, and I'm not willing to take any more risk than that. That was enough risk. They had done their manipulative move and it was sort of wiped out. Then we initiate prices down. So now what am I looking at? We're just initiating away. I haven't really analyzed any of this, been messing around on the computer trying to fix my silly microphone. I do apologize. Any of the previous videos, you've got some clicking and some nasty background noise. I'm really trying to figure it out. I'm using my cell phone to record this audio anyway. Aloha, anyone who's watching, hope you're smashing it. We'll see if this works out. I have no clue. I'm just going to hold now. I'm break even and I've got my stops at break even, and I'm just going to hold out and see what happens. I really am expecting a break of structure down here, or at least looking for that to occur. And then when it does, like I said, I think we're going to rip through. Okay. All is well. Christmas is just right around the corner. Hope you're doing amazing, and I'll catch all of you soon.